everybody. So today I'm going to be telling you about my custom MonsterVerse after 2021. Yeah, super hard to say that sentence because I'm so used to MonsterVerse after 2020. I'm so used to that it's unusual. Sorry. And now that Godzilla vs. Kong has been delayed, I have nothing to look forward to this year, which is exciting! And pretty sad. I'm emotionally scarred, guys. Help me. Godzilla vs. Kong, what about next month? If they could have just released the doggone trailer. Why couldn't they just release it April 31st and be done with it? Was it April 30th or April 30th? I don't think there is a 31st to April. You guys could tell me off in the comments about that, but I'm going to be telling you about my custom MonsterVerse. Starting off with Kong, the Heritage. I know, guys. Before you go to the comments and say, you just stole the title from Monster X Zero, didn't you? I had nothing else to call it. I mean, Kong 2, Kong Escapes. That was a pretty good title in my opinion, but there are some people who remove the 2s from movies. Like, yeah. So, if they don't do the 2 in Kong 2, Kong Escapes, it'll turn out to be Kong Escapes. So you see why I changed it, right? Anyway, let's get into the plot. It's about a group of monarch terrorists who want to kill Kong because of their family members' deaths. And they get to Skull Island and they want to kill Kong in revenge. Because they think Kong killed their families, which most of them didn't die to Kong. Most of them just were killed by skull crawlers. But that's beside the point. They go to Skull Island to try to eradicate Kong, which that doesn't go so well because when they get to Skull Island, they find out that it's infested with giant monsters. The Alpha Skullcrawler, Warbat, and many others attacked them. They managed to get away safe, but they nearly died. Because, well, yeah. And then Kong gets into a fight with Warbat, and then they land their offsprees in a little thing, and they start a mine. Yes, they start mining in a cave. But their mining is so loud that it wakes up the skull crawlers. But they're ready for this. They use grenades to keep them away. They're mining to try and find the source of the radiation on Skull Island. And then they'll kill Kong afterwards. So, oops. So, they're going to try to kill Kong by getting a radiation source and then unleashing it on Kong. But what they don't know is that would just make him bigger. But then the grenades being sent at the Skullcrawlers woke up something bigger. Monarch has given it the name Titanosaurosaurus. It hunted them down for about 2 minutes until Kong intervened after it ate 2 people. And they all aimed all their fire at Kong for some reason. Kong was kind of heartbroken by this because he just saved them from a giant from one of Kong's many rivals. Kong was a bit heartbroken by that, but Kong didn't let it get to him. He punched Gorosaurus square in the face, knocking him out. But there's another Gorosaurus that woke up, and he saw his knocked out brother on Skull Island. And the second Gorosaurus, when it saw Kong, it just bowed down to him because it was scared. Scared a cat. And so then they head back to their city because they failed to kill Kong, and they find out that their ultimate machine to kill Kong has been finally constructed. It is called Mechani-Kong. And they get Kong and Gorosaurus team up and head over to New York. Well, they're airlifted there so that they can kill him, and so that Mechani-Kong can kill them both. But unluckily, I'm not going to go into fight details because this video would be extremely long, but I'm going to tell you the ending. It has Mechani-Kong knocking out the second Gorosaurus on the ground, and then Mechani-Kong unleashes his laser eyes, well, they're light eyes, to try and find Kong. But what he didn't know is that he's climbing up the Empire State Building. Yep, a classic callback. And when Mechani-Kong takes notice of this, it climbs up there next to him. And a little callback to the battle on Tokyo Tower in the original King Kong Escapes. They climb up, and then Kong punches Mechani-Kong off. He lands on 2 buildings on his way down. And yeah, he just kind of blacks out there. And stop getting notifications! Dear. Oh. Okay. Anyway, moving on. What? I should have Do Not Disturb on. I really should. Anyway, moving on to Mothra, Queen of the Monsters. Which is, about a new Mothra egg was discovered in the Philippines. They think it's another Mothra, but it's much darker. And Mothra awakens first in the Pacific Ocean. And it heads over to San Diego, where it cocoons itself. On a building. Meanwhile, the other Mothra egg is hatching. Mothra Leo! Wrong. It's Batra. Batra awakens and slices through some buildings before it leaves. And Monarch gives it the name Monster M, an obvious reference to Project Mechagodzilla. But then it also gives itself a cocoon in Beijing. When out of nowhere, Mothra's cocoon opens up and Mothra flies away and destroys Batra's cocoon. But unluckily, Batra has already turned into his final form, and they get into a fight in Beijing before they both fly away. And then, later in the movie, Mothra and Batra are having a final fight in Shanghai. Mothra wins. No, Mothra does not win. Let me tell you this. Mothra doesn't win because, well, Batra... Actually, it is considered winning in a sense, but in monster ways, it's not really considered winning because, well, Batra kneels down to Mothra as the queen of the monsters, so Mothra wasn't able to get the kill. So Mothra becomes the queen of the monsters because Batra accepted that she's the queen of the monsters, and yeah. And now we're going to go to Godzilla Fathom. And yes, luckily I didn't steal this one from Monster X Zero. Actually, I didn't steal Kong Heritage. I just had nothing else to call it. Okay? Because who wants an untitled Kong sequel? The first Kong had a name, Kong Skull Island. But anyway, luckily I didn't call it Godzilla Annihilation. Is that how you say it? I hope that's how you say it. Anyway, Godzilla Fathom starts off as the eco-terrorists are trying to create an anti-Godzilla weapon so the eco-terrorists could conquer the world with Titans. And they can't do this if Godzilla's around, so they're experimenting with DNA. And their wacky creations are an irradiated and gigantic head warthog, armadillo, and a scorpion. But he ended up killing them because, well, they wouldn't cooperate by the orca. And two, they're pretty small compared to the MonsterVerse monsters. They're about the same size as Mothra larva was in King of the Monsters. Stop! Notifications, stop! I need to put it on silent mode, everybody. Next video, I promise I'll put it on silent mode. Okay? Sorry I'm getting so many notifications. Okay. But they found a more useful tool in a rose plant that has been dumped in Godzilla's blood in the battle in Hong Kong. So they took it to the laboratory where they put it in water and waited. But it grew and grew and grew. And it turned into Biollante. And they were experimenting in Beijing. So she began destroying Beijing. And the eco-terrorists discovered that she also wouldn't comply with the orca. But she was big enough to take on Godzilla. Heck, Biollante was even bigger than Ghidorah. Yes, you heard me right. This MonsterVerse Biollante is bigger than Ghidorah. And Ghidorah was huge compared to Godzilla. But Godzilla did put on a growth spurt too. Anyway, and they get into a fight in Beijing, which Biollante gets hurt and she digs herself into the ground, where she creates roots, and Godzilla decides to leave because, well, he thinks he solved it. Big mistake, Godzilla. You should have stayed there. And then Biollante grew out of the ground again, but she suddenly realized she had roots, so she can't move. She dug roots in Beijing, so she can't move. And yes, this is the destroyed Beijing from the last movie. And so she rips off one of her vines, and since she's rooted into the ground, she finds herself useless and kills herself using her acid spit, because she finds this Biollante pretty useless. So, then Godzilla finds out that she's also made roots in Tokyo. And so he calls upon his friends, Mothra and Rodan. Yes, this is going to be a 3v1. Actually, no, it's a 3v5 because in this movie her vines are alive. Yeah, I forgot to mention she's also combined with the DNA of Ghidorah, so yeah. And this ends up in Biollante becoming an ultimate monster. And, oh dang it, I forgot to mention a crucial part of the movie. Right after the battle in Beijing, Gigan, which has a Muto head, gets awakened and fights Godzilla in the ocean, but Godzilla, that doesn't go out so well for him. But he ends up ripping the Muto head out off of Gigan, and only a mechanical body remained, and so they gave it a completely mechanical head, and it participated in the final battle. It's Biollante versus Godzilla, and Gigan versus Rodan and Mothra. And may I mention that while Biollante was fighting Godzilla, and Gigan was fighting the two of the winged monsters, the eco-terrorists were also plotting something, because they had a crustacean crab in mind that they took alongside the Ghidorah head. And so and then dear. Notifications. Anyway, okay. And then there's the Gigan and Mothra and Rodan were fighting each other, and Rodan was flung into Tokyo Tower, where he destroyed the Tokyo Tower and got crushed by it. And Mothra had two of her legs sawed off by his chainsaw. And then Godzilla finally knew something that the monsters didn't. He grabbed Biollante, opened her mouth, and was about to kill Biollante. But Biollante severed one of her vines to create a new Biollante. But Mothra was on charge of this, and yes, Rodan was knocked out, but Gigan was also destroyed too. Mothra destroyed the vines, and by a long time, Biollante had all of her vines severed in Godzilla, and she bit down on Godzilla. But that was a bad idea. Godzilla's back started glowing red, and he shot his spiral ray down Biollante's throat. And Biollante was disintegrated. And after the events of this, they're hunting down new Biollante vines that might have made it away in Tokyo. One of them actually grew to massive size on Skull Island, but Kong actually, in the newspaper article, Kong handled that easily. Anyway, moving on, we have Gamera, which this is an introduction to Destroy All Monsters. But I'm not going to be covering Destroy All Monsters in this video because, well, you know, I'm doing a audio drama about that. I know it's not as exciting as a stop motion, but due to school, I can't really do stop motions right now. And I don't think you want me to wait until February of 2021 to make it. I don't even know if school's out by then. But doesn't matter. I still can't do it because school. Anyway. And Gamera is about Gamera has reawakened in the Pacific Ocean. They labeled this new monster as Titanus Gamera. But at the same time, winged monsters started awakening. And no, these aren't Gyos. These are Mutos. They're winged hawk Mutos. Now, I know Gyos is better than a bunch of male Mutos and a bunch of female Mutos, but we don't want to buy rights to new monsters literally every freaking movie. Am I right? So, Gamera is enough for right now. And, they start attacking some cities, which then Gamera reawakens and burns them using his fire breath. And he chases some other ones down before landing in the ocean, which is where the final battle takes place. He fights a bunch of Mutos in the ocean, but then he eventually surfaces in Atlanta, Georgia. And they have an awesome final battle there, which results in Gamera winning, and all of the main characters of the movie sighing in relief because all these Mutos, because these are carnivorous Mutos. Yes, there are some nods to Gyos, but we don't want to buy rights to literally every monster in one movie. And so, yeah. That's about it. I'll cover Destroy All Monsters in my audio drama, but the next one up is my MonsterVerse after 2021. Now, these are going to be separated into two different parts, because you see how long these things are. Stop with the YouTube notifications. But yeah, I'll cover these in a different video. See you later, guys. Horror Night should be coming out tonight. Sorry. Bye.